I am Brad Keelor. He is Kam Ng. Coming up next on Director's Cut, you're going to find out why there's a gap between his master's and his PhD and why he went back. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Director's Cut. My name is Brad Keelor. I'm the director of the Geo-Institute, and that is why we call this show Director's Cut. Every single week, I sit down with a different GI member who has stories to tell. Some of them are personal, some are professional, and all of them, every single time, every episode, are fun. If you don't know anything about the Geo-Institute, after you watch this interview today, head over to geoinstitute.org, and there you can read, you can watch videos, I guess, you can learn all kinds of things about us, including that we are a technical society with about 12,000 members, most of whom are geotechnical engineers and or geologists, and that we are part of the American Society of Civil Engineers. And if you like what you see today, and I always think that you will, you should click like, subscribe, and get notifications, and we will let you know every time we post something to the YouTube channel. Our first guest in Director's Cut history from the state of Wyoming, and we are really excited about that today. Coming to us from Laramie, Wyoming, where he is a faculty member at the University of Wyoming, and he's also a member of the program committee for Geo-Congress 2026. We'll talk about that later on in the interview. It is Kam Ng. Kam, thank you for doing this today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I think we're going to have a good time today. We've got 10 questions, the same way that we always do, and 2 of them are the same that we ask everybody, just like every week, and we have to start with one of those. Describe your job in 45 seconds.
Like Brad said, I'm a faculty at University of Wyoming, specialized in geotechnical engineering. I lead a major research program focused on transportation geotechnics, energy geotechnics, and now I'm working also on innovative construction materials. My work mostly experimental. I also actively mentor graduate students and undergraduate research assistants. I have a very active research program at University of Wyoming and found many patents as well, and also a co-founder for a startup company called Carbonado Technology LLC. Is to commercialize what we have, the coal-derived construction products, to help the state and develop the economy here in the state of Wyoming.
Oh, that's amazing. I like that you threw that in at the end. I was going to ask you a follow-up question about undergraduate research, but instead I'm going to ask you a follow-up question about the company. I mean, what led to that? What made you want to do it? And I'm assuming that you're getting some support from the state and from the university as well for that.
Well, we initially started with a research project funded by Department of Energy and then by the state. As you know, that coal has been slowly replaced by renewable energy, and coal is the major resources in Wyoming. We have the most coal in the United States, and the community here is relying heavily on coal and the tax from the coal extraction, mining. So I think to sustain that revenue and support the state economy, we need to come up with an alternative ways of using coal. So one of the byproducts from the pyrolysis of coal is the char, just like the biochar, and we use char. And we spent many years working on char, and we have developed many products. I think more than 10 products. One of them will be soil stabilization for ground improvement using the coal char. And we have patents, and then eventually we found that if we have patents, we have products. If we don't commercialize it, it's going to be worthless. It's not going to be impactful. So I think we decided to try our luck and with the startup company and see if we can bring that to the market.
Oh, that is super cool. I like that. And I like that biochar is involved. So let me tell you, from a DC person, every couple of years, there's some kind of hot new energy technology or energy type or whatever. And biochar was it. From about 2006 to 2008, maybe it became like a
Yeah,
really big deal. And then it
yeah.
kind of disappeared. But we know that there are people out there in the world doing research on this, and it's not like it just goes away. So that's awesome to hear that you guys are working with that. And we'll put a link to the company website down in the show notes so that everybody can check it out after they watch the interview. The best thing about Director's Cut, well, I mean, it's all the best things, right? But the best things are the fun questions. I do not follow celebrity culture at all. I have to preface my question with this. And so when I put this question in here, my answer to this is pretty much every celebrity. There are a lot of things that happen out in the world that annoy me. I maybe actors are the most annoying celebrities to me. I think that they might be the people who are the most disconnected. Cam, for you, which celebrity always makes you shake your head in disbelief?
I initially want to drop this question, but I think I
No,
should
you
have
can't. You got to have
one.
fun with it.
I shouldn't. I think I should involve with this question. And we have one famous celebrity that is a resident, used to be a resident in Wyoming. I'm not sure I should say the name out, but
I
he
think you
lived
have
in.
to. They're not going to watch this, so don't worry about it.
He is Kanye West.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think Kanye makes a lot of people shake
Kanye.
their
Sorry, I
heads.
tried to pronounce his first name. So he used to be a resident in Jackson, Wyoming. Is the one of the most expensive place in the United States, and for some reason I don't understand why he want his wife to dress like that, and why
Yeah.
why they're doing things that is not the norm of the society, and that is awful for me, and I don't understand that. And just like, well, because you have money, but you still need to, I think, respect the society. I guess you need to. Why you want to treat your wife and dress like almost naked? I just do not understand. I live in Wyoming long enough that I become like a very conservative person, and then
So that does raise a good question, though. Like
yeah,
for the rest of the state, I mean, there's not necessarily like Kanye, but there are a lot of celebrities that live in the Jackson area, and there's a lot of money there. That's pretty different from from the rest of Wyoming. Like, what is the dynamic there then? Do people kind of look at that area a little bit differently?
so we look at them. That many of the Wyoming people, they say that Jackson Hole is not part of the Wyoming. That's so much different from
That's
the
fair.
typical Wyoming cowboy, and the lifestyle we have here. So
So the third question is always the research question. And we're going to talk a little bit about your history at University of Wyoming now. You've been there a little over 10 years and done a lot of work building up the geotech program there, both in terms of bringing in the research dollars and the research and bringing in grad students. So tell us the story, Cam. How'd you start everything and where are you excited about going to next?
I joined UC Wyoming in 2012. At that time, we have a faculty that focus mostly teaching. So we do not have graduate student, I believe, when I joined in the geotechnical program. And for me, as a young faculty and a tenure track, I must do research. I must recruit graduate students. I received only 2 applications for my first semester when I joined. And my research background, where I graduated from, is on the LRFD, Power Foundation, and those areas are kind of towards the sunset in terms of funding. So I'm wondering what I can do in Wyoming that create a niche area that I can build my research program. And then I learned that there's no rock mechanics program in Wyoming, and Wyoming has a lot of rock.
Yeah.
And energy is another big area that no one focus on rock and related to energy. So I built that program from the first. In fact, that it was funny that before I officially stepped on the campus, I already secured a state funding to buy equipment. Equipment that cost about $300,000. I'm so proud and so excited about that time. Equipment to test the rock at high temperature and high pressure for mostly used for the energy research. So I remember that was the starting point where I get into rock mechanics. I don't have much background in rock mechanics, honestly. In Iowa, probably you will not deal with rock a lot. So I started that with the funding to purchase the equipment, and then slowly I get into a DOE project, I get into carbon sequestration project, and then now my lab, I can say that I have built a geomechanics or rock mechanics lab with the most advanced equipment in the United States, I will say, because I have $1 million of one equipment funded by NSF on rock, and then the autoclave to treat rock, X-ray scanning to see the rock fractures. So a lot of equipment that I built over the years for me to be on top on the energy study. That was how I get to build a program from nothing, zero. And then in the past 5 years, I get into construction materials because of the coal. The coal was looking for, the state was looking for alternative use of coal. And based on my expertise and I'm learning at the same time while doing research, honestly, how to utilize the coal char, which is very weak and porous, and how to make them into a strong brick, paver block, stone veneer, you name it, building materials, and then soil stabilization, grout, cement grout, and additives. So many things I've forgotten. There's so many insulation foam. There's all this was developed in the past 5 years and commercialized. Commercialization is the next step for me. So that was how I was evolved from a very traditional geotechnical areas into something that unique to the state and build a program from here.
So can you talk a little bit about being funded by DOE? It's a little different for people who have spent their life getting research money out of NSF and maybe even out of FHWA or Department of Transportation. DOE is a little bit of a different beast. Can you tell everybody a few of the differences and I mean what it's like to work on a DOE funded project?
So DOE projects has a lot of milestones that we need to meet. I work with a few colleagues from the chemical engineering, from the geology program. That project related to the carbon sequestration basically is, can we store the CO2 underground, deep underground? For me, my focus is on how the CO2 storage will affect the rock mechanics and the behavior. So that was my study. Under the high pressure and temperature, my rock sample was collected, I think, 14,000 feet below ground. Very deep.
That's amazing.
Amazing. And that was the DOE project that I involved in. And then now currently working on hydrogen production from rock underground that I work with. We have a School of Energy Resources as well as UT Austin. They are the main institution on the project. I'm part of the team to investigate how the hydrogen storage will affect the rock mechanics. That was the current project, yeah. And I have the other projects all are related to rock as well, but this is the current project they are working on right now.
Very cool, and a great way to work with some people from other disciplines as well.
Yes.
But
yes.
I mean, pretty valuable stuff for society at large, I would think, too. We're going to need to know this stuff as we move forward in the U.S., well, and in other countries in the world, too. I have never asked anybody this question that I put in here next, and I don't really understand why. So, Cam, you're the lucky one who got it today. Do you remember the first time you used a computer?
I think my first time using the computer when I at Iowa State, when I was an undergrad student at Iowa State, I think 1992 or 93. And I remember that I need to be in the computer lab in the daytime or even the nighttime just to catch a computer to
Oh,
be
yeah.
used. Yeah, at that time. It's a DOS system, it's a DOS system. And remember that you need to input the parameters according to the space and the location and run the program. It was amazing experience, I think. Yeah, and slope stability analysis with the DOS system. So at that time,
I think my favorite thing about DOS is that when you would put in commands at the C prompt, and sometimes just literally nothing happened.
yeah,
If you didn't do the command properly or whatever, it would literally sometimes just roll you back to the C prompt, and you'd sit
yeah,
there like,
right.
well, what happened?
What
What did I
happened?
do wrong? There's no
Yeah,
guidance whatsoever on the screen. I don't know if I miss those days very much.
it's
And the computer lab, I definitely don't miss going to the computer labs in undergrad. That's a
and
painful
then
memory, I think, for
and
everybody.
the floppy disk. Remember that the big one, the thin one, and then after a few years they changed it to the smaller, thicker one. So yeah,
Well, that's
I've used both.
you had to carry them in your bag. Like that
Yes,
was important. Like it was the flash drive of the 1980s and 90s. I think you had to have your little pack of discs with you. And if you
yeah,
weren't careful, the metal the guard at the bottom would get bent that covered the disc itself. Oh, not fun times.
yeah.
So the question we teased at the beginning was about your PhD. And when I did my research before we started this interview, I noticed that you had a long gap between your master's and your PhD. And if you look at your LinkedIn, you've got employment in there. But as someone who quit his PhD program and thinks to himself, every August I think I could go back, but I never have. What was the final push that convinced you to go and get your PhD, Cam?
So I graduated from Iowa State with my master's degree in 1997. I'm the eldest. My family want me to be back at home. So I went back at the end of 1997. That's when the economic financial crisis happened, just right on the same month and the time. I could not find a good job. I ended up working as a site engineer. I'm not sure they call it a site engineer. You do pretty much everything: repair equipment, manage workers, so many things, manage the scheduling. On the job site for 2 years. So I completed the building construction. It was a good experience for me. It's a special construction technique. It's called top-down construction. Basically, you build the basement and the superstructure at the same time. So that was a good experience for me. And then that project involved pre-stressing, Barrett pile. Uh, there's so many things to learn about. Architecture features, granite, curtain walls. There's so many things that I gained. And then, of course, it's very tiring. I actually applied for my PhD after that 2 years. But then I met my wife, so we decided to stay. So I switched to a consulting job, a small, medium consulting jobs, working on many different buildings, small size buildings, and I just get bored with, like when you design structure beams, you put in the parameters, you use a program, you input, output, almost like 100 beams per day. I feel like, oh my God, that's just so tiring and so boring. And then the civil infrastructure design, the sewerage, water pipe, they're so standard, they're so nothing interesting to me. And then because of the family, I decided to continue, and then I switched to a construction because in that environment, people look at you as not based on your education, based on your financial status. That was the environment that, oh, you must be rich to be respected. You must drive a good car and big houses. Then you'll be considered established and people respect you. So I thought that, oh, construction is a good business, right? To make a good money. I switched to a construction company and then I ended up open my own construction company, and it was tough. It was tough because of you're lobbying for jobs, you're lobbying for the payment every month. You need to pay workers every month. At one time, I have hired 150 workers. 150 foreign workers. Imagine that they are foreign workers from Southeast Asia, like Indonesia. They are not a friend of you. They are here to make money. No money means you'll be in trouble for the business. And government policy also is another factors that I'm a minority in Malaysia. Getting a government job is not a things that you can do directly. You have to partner with the majority to open a business, and then even then also difficult because of political connections and corruption. So many things that discouraging you from continuing this business. I don't see a prospect or I don't think I like this type of job that I work almost every day, 6 days at least per week, sometimes on Sunday because I'm considered a subcontractor of a company in a construction. So I decided that I like my research at Iowa State back then, and I like doing research and teaching. So I decided that I sell the company and then bring my family back to the state in 2008 and pursue my PhD. That was a turning point for me. I have no regret. I'm so happy that I made that decision. It was a tough decision.
And you went back to Iowa State, so you have all 3-year degrees from the same institution. And was it like you never left when you came back, or was it hard to get used to again?
I think when I decided to go back to Iowa State is because I have a family. I know that I was able to survive in Iowa because of the cost of living, and I'm familiar with the place, so it's easy to assimilate yourself or accustom to the environment. I just like Iowa. I don't know. I like Ames, Iowa a lot. The people are so friendly there. There's a lot of support for us. Yeah.
That's a good one. I mean, and ultimately, right, it doesn't matter how amazing the opportunity is that you see. If you're not going to be happy there, it's not a good idea to go. So I think you chose the right way, and here you are, now all these years later. That's a fantastic story. So we're going to ask you to think back on the next question too, because this is the other question that we ask everybody. How did you first get involved with ASCE and GI?
I will say that my first attending the Geo-Congress will be when I was a PhD student presenting a paper in Florida, I think West Palm Beach, Florida. I don't know what year is that.
2010.
Is it 2010?
Yep.
2010, yes. That was my first experience presenting my own research to the community. And then we have this big exhibition. I remember the foundation, must be the DFI at that time. They brought in all the big equipments and display, and it was so amazing and so many people. And of course, it's a good experience for me to be in the GI the first time. And then when I joined the faculty, I built my rock mechanics program. I get involved. I become the vice chair, and then the chair later. I get more involved in GI over years. Yeah, and
that's kind of how it goes, right?
Yeah, as you get to know more people, you want to go back to GI every year.
That is fantastic. And this is the point where we always do a little bit of a pitch for people to get involved. And Kam is right. He's been involved with the Rock Mechanics Technical Committee for several years. If you had to give people one reason to join technical committees, what would it be?
I think the technical committee is for you to share your technical, professional opinions and help the community, and at the same time help you to connect to the people that you share the same interests. And I think for young faculty, let's say a faculty at a university, it's good the connection for you to know these experts and legends in this field,
Yeah.
especially, right? So you got to be involved in the community to know them. Otherwise, may not have time in the conference to speak with you for a time. So I think joining committee is really important.
And it's so easy. I think this is
Yeah,
the
so
thing I always
easy.
tell people. There are
Yeah.
only two criteria to join a technical committee. One is that you have to be interested in the topic, and two is you have to be a human being. As long as you meet those two criteria, they're going to have you. So we'll have a link down in the show notes to the page where you can apply to join one of the GI technical committees. I guarantee viewers that we've got something that you will be interested in and a place for you to fit in. We have a couple of questions now about Wyoming. I've been to Wyoming. It's one of the states that I've been to, but I know there are a lot of people who have not. And so we need to learn a little bit about it now. You mentioned you grew up in Malaysia, went back there in between your master's and your PhD as well. Cam, where's the best Malaysian food in the state of Wyoming?
I think the best Malaysian food must be my house then, I think. Yeah, I can cook Malaysian food, and no one can cook Malaysian food in Wyoming, I believe. I think I don't know how many Malaysian people here, even in Laramie itself. There's maybe less than 10. Uh, there's no Malaysian food here in the Wyoming at all. Yeah.
So we have to spin that a little bit then. Your number one restaurant recommendation in Laramie. When people come to visit you, where should they eat?
If I can cook for them, I will cook because that will be the authentic Malaysian food you
This
can
is
find in
great.
Wyoming.
This is fantastic. So
Yes,
everybody has it on Cam's good word. Make it out to Laramie and he will have you over to his house and cook for you. We've never had an
yes,
offer like this in Director's Cut
yes.
history.
Because
This is fantastic.
even the Asian Chinese food, you cannot find good Asian Chinese food here at all. So the best, based on the rating we have in Laramie, is Panda Express. Can you imagine that? so,
It's kind of
so
tough, but I will say it's the first time anybody's ever mentioned Panda Express on Director's Cut. So they should be happy about that. We gave them a little bit of free advertising. So the other question we have about Wyoming is a geotech question. Um, I'm not even sure how many people know geographically what Wyoming looks like. There are a lot of mountains. There's prairie in the eastern part of the state. So for you, Cam, what was the most surprising geotechnical issue in the state of Wyoming for you?
I think because of the landscape, landslide is so common in Wyoming, and the landslide involve rock that are we call that the soft rock or intermediate geomaterial, material that is harder than soil but softer than the hard rock. There's a lot of shale, a lot of mudstone. That a lot of this provide a good recipe for landslide because the soil is sliding onto a smooth
Oh
rock
yeah.
surface. Yeah, and I think the Y has this special term for a northeast region of Wyoming. They call it the Ring of Hell or something. That
Wow.
this Highway 24 and 14 actually is in a loop or in a ring shape, but within that region, there's so many landslides occurring because of the shell. They call it the Sundan Shell that was falling and weakening and was create a lot of landslide onto this Highway 24 and 14. So near the Davis Tower, if you know Davis Tower on the northeast of Wyoming, that will be the region that always problematic. Yeah, with landslides. Yeah, and sliding.
Wow, that is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
As you learned about the area when you moved out there, how varied is the geology across the state? It, I mean, there's
Oh,
got to be some variation, but I would imagine it's more than you would see in a lot of areas about that size.
there's so variation. I look at the geological map. I don't think I can understand that complexity of the geology here in Wyoming. That entire map is filled with multiple colors of different rock formations and so complex that I don't even know and understand that. But this, and imagine in the Wyoming Department of Transportation, the most of the people working in that program, they are geologists. They are focused on the geology of the rock and the material, and maybe a few that are geotechnical engineering in practice, but they're mostly geology. So geology is such a complex and a problem, important knowledge to have here in Wyoming. It's good for people who are interested in geology and geophysics.
And that's another thing for us to link to. Then we will find the geological map of the state and we'll link to that down in the show notes
All
so everybody
right.
can check it out and admire all the beautiful colors across the state.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we record this, Cam, it's December, and in December, winter things happen, even in places that they're not really supposed to. And it snowed here in Virginia this morning, which is a little weirder than it snowing there in Wyoming, but it snowed there too today. What are your favorite snow day activities?
Well, if I have opportunity after the semesters, I will probably drive up to the snowy range or the Medicine Bow Mountain. And then from that view, you can see such a vast open landscape of Wyoming with covered with snow. And a so beautiful landscape of Wyoming. I don't do ski, I don't know ski, so that's the bad thing. Living in a cold weather like this, and you don't do ski, but I like the landscape, I like the sceneries, and it's such a beautiful place to live in. Except the cold, but I think you can get used to that. Yeah, but it's just you drive up to the mountain, you look down. Wow, this is amazing. Yeah,
I mean, and I would go for indoor activities. I told you, I'm
yeah.
always looking for an excuse during the winter to spend the whole night watching basketball or hockey. And anytime there's a snowy night, I feel like that's a really good reason to not go anywhere and just hang out at home and
I
get
think
the
one of the
TV on.
popular activities will be a cross country skiing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you basically just walk on the snow. You have to buy a special gear for that, and then you just walk and actually sweating quite a bit after walking for a few hours. We have this, I think it's snowy range. Happy Jack area that is open for public to use, and cross country is a popular spot and activity here.
You're going to have some visitors after this between telling them they can do that and that you're going to cook
Malaysian
for them.
food,
You got a lot going for you out there.
yeah, spicy
So,
and snow, yeah.
in the region, this is the first time since 1997 that Geo-Congress will be back in Utah in the Intermountain West, as it's called. I've heard Ryan Moss say that. You're on our Geo-Congress 26 program committee. We are just 3 months away from the conference now, which is insane to me, but we are. It's coming up fast. Cam, what should people be most excited about for Geo-Congress 2026?
I think you should be exciting about the place we are holding is in Salt Lake City, is in the West region, and especially for me, it's a networking and catch up with my friends and communities and colleagues that I have not met for a long time. This is an annual gathering for me, and to have happy to see my colleagues and catch up with them. And for people, maybe there's opportunity for collaborations. And plus, there are many different events. We have short courses, special lectures, exhibitions, student competitions, so many technical sessions, committee meetings. opportunities for networking and new knowledge. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of new technologies and knowledge developed over the years, and the trend of the research and the practice, those are important. Whoever they're interested in academic research, we want to know what will be the emerging trend of research. People in practice, you want to know the latest technology for doing something new, something easier and more efficient. So that will be the Geo-Congress 2026 that I encourage you to attend. If you can come and enjoy the Salt Lake City, there's a lot of places you can visit, and we will be held in the palace, right?
The Salt Palace, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good endorsement and a good rundown of everything that's going to happen out there. I think what we want is when people go home for them to say that they had fun. That is the most important thing. You're going to learn stuff. You're going to see your old friends and your colleagues and your former grad students and your former advisors and stuff, and it's all going to be fun. That's what we can guarantee. So Thanks for that, Kam. And for all the other answers you gave today. You made it through all the questions, even the follow-ups, and you did a great job. For our viewers, if you liked what you saw, and you're here at the end, so you probably did, again, you want to click like, subscribe, and get notifications, and we'll let you know every time we post something to the YouTube channel, which is pretty frequently. Not every day, but it's pretty close. Kam, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
It was a great time. For our viewers, we only have 2 episodes of Director's Cut left before the end of the year, and they will be our 2 holiday episodes. So maybe that hat that's up there on that logo in the corner, you're going to see something like that on my head for the next 2 weeks. We'll see. But we are approaching the end of the year rapidly, and we will see you in just 7 days with another brand new episode of Director's Cut.